Okay, hello Facebook land. It's Neil here at the Music Centre. Delighted to have Francesca Ter-Berg joining me to talk about folk music and all things cello. So, Francesca, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. Yeah,
Are
it's
you
so
great?
nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. You too. Yeah, sorry to spring this on you last minute.
That's all right.
Francesca, you're joining us tomorrow for Inspiration Week workshop at 1 o'clock, um, hosted by our folk band. We've just been chatting just before this about what we have in store. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And how are you? What's been going on? How's lockdown three
Is
for
it locked?
you?
Well, because I'm in Margate and we never really came out of lockdown. We did
Okay,
we did lockdown 2 and then we did tier 3, which
yeah.
is basically lockdown, and then we
Mhm.
did tier 4 and then we did lockdown. So
We did.
I just it's just it's like that's all I know now, lockdown life. But at
Okay.
least down here, we've got the sea and I go for walks and just then I go home
That's
again.
true. The sea. I can't remember what that looks like. Haven't been to the
Oh
sea
yeah,
for a
it's
while.
nice. I can see it from my window.
Can you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I've
wow.
looked for a
That's
flat for
cool.
months where I've had a sea view, which is really good. So that's I'm fine, and I've gotten used to not doing gigs and
Yeah, I know.
kind of
So,
yeah.
so pre-COVID,
Mm.
you would have been doing you were doing gigs and workshops basically all over the place, not just the UK, but going
Yeah,
into
it was
Europe
kicking off.
and
It was definitely kicking off.
yeah,
Well, yeah. I mean, me and Flora, with my band, Fran and Flora, that I know you know about. We when we made our album, we thought it was good enough to give it give it a shot. Basically, we put in an insane amount of energy. It felt like kind of having a not that I've had a baby yet, but it
yeah,
felt like a birth. It felt like some kind
yeah.
of birth, and it was a really intense. And we were so busy, just the momentum of building that up. And by the lockdown, to be honest, it was a kind of probably like 14 months after the release of the album. We were actually exhausted, so I was kind of ready for a break, but I wasn't ready
Okay.
for like
For that
everything
long a
being.
break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's for everyone really. It's like that feeling of you spend a long time building these things up, and then for it to sort of fall apart was quite a destructive experience. But I've
Mhm.
kind of normalized now, and we've been receiving a little bit of mentoring from a lovely guy through the PRS Women Make Music scheme, which has kind of kept us ticking, and we're in a much better headspace now. And we're just starting to talk about making a little sort of live EP and then move on to a second album.
Okay.
Kind of
So your album you're talking about is Unfurl. That's
yeah.
Fran and Flora Unfurl. Um,
Mm.
you should all check it out because it's absolutely gorgeous. So when it first came out, I listened to it quite a lot. Um,
Oh,
I haven't listened to it. Well, I'll listen to it again though, because I don't know if you do that, but I go through phases with I'll listen to something end to end for ages, and then something else will catch my attention. But it's
yeah,
like a
definitely.
mixture of like long, lush, and with doiners like long melodies, and then some quite intense groove based stuff. How did
Yeah.
you get? How did you? How did you like begin to even consider putting it together? Because I know having
Mm.
followed you on social media and things, you put a lot of like study, almost maybe practical study and learning into like developing your art together as a band. So how did that all kind of come together?
Well, I think we were both very passionate about the music and we wanted to go deep into learning the traditions. So we did spend a long time doing that, and we still do that, like as much as possible. Um, it's a sort of ongoing practice, and I think once you've got that stuff um, under your belt, is that how you say it? Um, we sat down and did a kind of big mind map about the aesthetic of the album because we're both, very into nature and meditation and sort of the feel of things. And we talked about how we'd like it to sound, like kind of like how we'd like people to feel when they listen to it. And then we were like, right, how do we achieve that? And then, because I was studying at Goldsmiths at the time, I met Sam Best, who we worked on the album with in the end. I just really liked his musicality and his aesthetic as a producer because he was just sort of starting to get into a sort of producery type role. And he heard us. He came to one of our shows and just actually approached us and said, "I'd really like to work on your album with you." But we didn't. It was very. We didn't. None of us really knew what we were doing, so it was a very like exploratory experience. And kind of always staying true to, I guess, the skeleton of the tune or of what we were doing, and then we kind of, so we would record like a take, several takes maybe of the tunes that we picked, and obviously some of them didn't make it onto the album. The ones that weren't really, they just weren't like really cutting through, like so really saying anything. And then if we wanted, we decided to kind of rip it all apart and do stuff to it. But like everything on there, I don't think there's any splicing except for where it's really obviously cut up, kind of an experimental way. It's all like one take, usually the first take, and then we kind of did some studio production on it.
Nice. I mean, it's a huge undertaking, isn't it? So huge congratulations. I know it probably feels like quite a long time ago now, as you say. So is it 14 months you said that it was?
It came out in like now, I mean, because like a whole year's passed. It came out 2 years ago.
Did it? Oh my gosh!
Because 2020 happened.
Yeah.
And gone. Yeah, it came out 2 years ago. So we're definitely ready to work on the next one now.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. I'm looking forward to can't wait to see what you guys come up with, because it's gorgeous. I mean, what's not to like about lush strings and beautiful tunes, and exciting playing, it's perfect. So thank you for taking some time to come and not talk with me today, but also come and do our workshop, mainly our workshop tomorrow. What have you got in store for us and our folk band tomorrow? What are your thoughts?
Right, we're gonna go obviously we're going hardcore Klezmer here, guys.
Okay, hardcore Klezmer.
We're going hardcore Klezmer. I've been told, it's January and we're all feeling a bit sluggish, so we're gonna be like going quite high, I think quite hard paced, and looking at groove and the sort of interconnectedness of like the tune with the groove and the rhythm and the accompaniment, because in Klezmer music that combination is very unique, and it's quite straightforward, but there's something about it that really isn't, and we'll be like going deep into that,
nice.
And trying out lots of different experiments, like options, because it's like an improvisatory approach. Like Klezmer, you can improvise a lot with Klezmer, but you've got to have the tools. So we'll be looking at that kind of rhythmic toolkit, I think, which is something I think as a cellist, when I was younger, I thought, well, no one's ever going to book me as a melody player, so I want to play this music. What shall I learn? So I went and looked into that quite deeply, and there's a lot in there. And then we'll learn hopefully a couple of tunes.
I'm really excited because I've founded the folk band with actually an Irish whistle player. When did I join university? 2.5 years ago, I think it would have been. And Isha, the Irish whistle player, she's no longer at the university, and so we're kind of morphing through whatever the personnel is. And so at the moment we've got a couple of people who are really into Klezmer, and so just absolutely thrilled that you're able to kind of come along and give us your expertise. So yeah, really looking forward to tomorrow. So yeah, that's I think let's stop there. I think that's good. I've taken up way too much of your time.
No, it's fine.
Have you what's happening for the rest of the day for you? Have you got?
Oh, I've just got some meetings.
Meetings
about the new Synagogue Arts Centre that I'm.
Oh man, I can't wait. Yeah.
Kind of helping to set up, and I don't even know. Yeah, I'm gonna try and do some practice. I'm trying to get keep up with playing despite not having anyone else to play with.
It's really tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really tough.
The motivation is interesting.
Well, it's just that thing of context, realizing that without playing a gig or like playing with other people, it's like there's no like interchange.
And like for me, the kind of gigs and concerts, they're the fuel.
Yeah.
That kind of so we haven't got for me the fuel is lacking. So
the context. Yeah.
The context. Yeah. And so I really admire the people who have taken the time to just like really get deep into their like technical development, or learn a whole load more repertoire or a whole load more tunes. Yeah, it's difficult. So yeah, get some practice done. And
Yeah.
anyone else who's watching, stop procrastinating on your phone. Go and
Get off your
practice.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually got this new method where I do turn my phone off for 25 minutes, and then I'm allowed to look at it, and then for 5 minutes if I want, or do something that's not my focused activity. And then, yeah, I'm basically exploring different modes of productivity in a time where there's no like real structure.
That's really interesting because they grab our attention, don't they? They like it's there and it's shouting, pick me up, look at me, look at me.
No,
so you're giving yourself a structure, and all sides of your brain are in agreement that you can have 25 minutes and then you get 5 minutes to like play Candy Crush or whatever it is.
It's like the doctor telling you, like, you're allowed to, I don't know, do this for this much time per day, and it won't be as damaging. But yeah, I mean, the idea is not to look at your phone in that break, but if you need to, you're allowed.
Okay, interesting. So there's like a release valve if it gets too much. Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a good idea. I might try that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Francesca, it's been lovely to speak to you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice
Great.
one.
Thank you. And yeah, see you then. All right. Bye.